Finally, guys, we're going to wrap up the show with what we talked about earlier, evolution of a franchise. This is Prince of Persia. This is going to be a Wes-heavy topic because I'm a lot less familiar with Prince of Persia. I played like Sands of Time a little bit. I played a few other ones, but I'm really not as familiar with this as Wes is. So, Wes, take it away.
Oh wait, man! Evolution of a franchise. Yeah, it was something you and I were talking about, and just something we're going to revisit. But today we're going to be talking about Prince of Persia, and like Prince of Persia, when it originally started out, was just a side-scrolling, if you can call it a platformer, because it was a lot of dungeon. You were in a dungeon and a lot of traps. You had to maneuver around and jump to different levels. Very left to right. It was, from what I remember, it was difficult. It was a little challenging, and it came out I remember it on Sega CD. I'm sure it came out on regular Nintendo. It was also a computer game.
Yeah, it did
So
come out on regular Nintendo, and it had a
Mhm.
pretty unique art style for NES. Like it was like, oh, this
Mhm.
is different.
Yeah, it's been around for a long time, and every time it came back, they changed it to try to reinvent the series. Because there was a Prince of Persia 2, which I don't remember too much, but after the original, the next time I vividly remember Prince of Persia was on the Dreamcast. It was called Prince of Persia Arabian Nights, and it was it tried to be Tomb Raider.
Okay.
It was very Tomb Raider esque in its appearance, but it was under the gauze of Prince of Persia. And he had swords, and it was all 3D, and you still maneuvered through traps. And it was, it was okay. It was okay. It was okay.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
then
you
from
just
there,
describing it as a Tomb Raider version of Prince of Persia. You saying it's
hmm
okay sounds exactly what it was like. I'm sure it was fine. It was fine to play.
exactly, it was fine. It wasn't spectacular. Didn't suck.
Would have
Yeah,
been
there
a
was some camp.
great weekend rental.
Yes, yes, definitely.
You were
Um,
still renting games during the Dreamcast era. This was like '99, guys. Come on, you guys still would rent stuff back then.
it sold pretty well, just based on the Prince of Persia franchise, like the name. It was a name a lot of people recognized, so it sold just on that. You got it, and it's like, okay, it's not the Prince of Persia I remember, but okay. Uh, and then after that, um, we didn't have another Prince of Persia until one of my favorite games of all time, Sands of Time, came out. Man, when I heard they were redoing Prince of Persia, woo! I couldn't keep my composure. I was so pumped up when that game came out. Because as a franchise, I love Prince of Persia, and then seeing what they did to it, how much they changed it, especially coming from the Dreamcast one. We talked about it before. It had the rewind feature where if you make a mistake, as long as you had sand, you can rewind and redo a jump or redo a fight scene that you died on. Innovative. Yeah, it was great. Story was fantastic.
Yeah, this was
Parkour was like hot and at the time, so that was like a lot of the wall running going on. Yeah, man, good
this
stuff.
was this was massive at the time. If you guys weren't alive then, or you're too young to know or too old and you forgot, this was huge. This was advertised heavily. This became a major property for Ubisoft. This was Assassin's Creed before Assassin's Creed for Ubisoft. Like this was a major
Mm.
franchise for them. And then I think what happened was Assassin's Creed came along and they were like, well, this is making us more money, so we don't really need to focus on Prince of Persia anymore. Because it kind of, they still make them, sure, but they're not. I think Assassin's Creed really ate its lunch, unfortunately. And even though there's different mechanics and different things, Ubisoft really just focused in on that because the last Prince of Persia game was made in 2013. Is that right?
2010.
2010. See,
I
so
want to
now
say
you see my
2010.
point. Over 10 years ago,
Yeah.
which is significant, right? And I know they're trying to bring it back now. They're trying to remake Sands of Time, which was like, in most people's opinion, that was like the iconic, like the most iconic Prince of Persia.
Oh man, I would play if they gave it to me tomorrow. I would be all over it, all over it. You know what? Because the Sands of Time, it became a trilogy, but the latter two games changed in tone. Especially like the second one, because the Warrior Within, it got really dark.
Yeah, I
Like the
remember
tone of
that.
the game.
Even the advertising, like just seeing that was like, wow, this is like way darker than Sands of Time was.
Yeah, man. Like Sands of Time was like bright, and it was very, I don't want to say lighthearted, but it went Warrior Within, man. It took a turn. And I guess the prince from the first game has been through some stuff, scarred and battle hardened, and he became gritty. He became really gritty. And then they had the third one, the Two Thrones, which I guess over the time the sands infected you, and you were able to like become like I I don't want to say like a negative version of yourself, but you changed. Still same gameplay. Again, it's a little on the. It wasn't as dark as the second one because it looks like they tried to lighten
To
it up
bring
a
it
little
back a
bit.
little bit, yeah.
But it was. I mean, as a whole, the series I was fantastic. I loved it. The puzzles were great. Graphics were great. Play mechanics were great. I wish they continued it, but then after that they changed it and gave us. I guess they were trying to reboot the series because, as you said, Assassin's Creed kind of took the spotlight,
Yep.
and then we got just a regular Prince of Persia,
Yeah, this
which
was
was
the
a
cell shaded version, right?
cell shaded, but at a different character. So it wasn't the Prince anymore; it was a whole different character. It still had the same aesthetics and play mechanics of Sands of Time, with the wall running and the acrobatics, but it was different story, different character. Uh, it was Prince of Persia.
I've heard
They
many people
tried.
describe that as like very underrated too. Like it's a very good game that not a lot of people played.
It was you because everybody expected another Sands of Time, and they got this. So there was some disappointment there. And around that time, there was talk of them doing a Prince of Persia movie with Jake
Hmm.
Gyllenhaal. And
That went over well.
yeah, I really tried to like it. Loving the series, I really wanted to like it, and it was very meh for me.
It
Um,
was very meh for everybody that saw it. I didn't see it because I heard it was just like not good, and I was already not a huge fan of Prince of Persia, so I was like, I do like Jake Gyllenhaal, but when I heard the movie wasn't that great, and I'm not that into the games, I was like, I'll pass. I'm good.
yeah, I was there opening weekend, man. I was like, yeah, finally, Prince of Persia movie, and
They
and
did the
then
same thing
they.
with the Assassin's Creed movie. That was too. They're just like,
But I didn't mind the Assassin's Creed movie. It was interesting.
hmm.
I think it would have got better if they gave us a second one, because it would have explained a lot more, went into detail a little bit more, and I think it would have been a lot better. But we didn't get a second one. But we did get a game out of the Prince of Persia movie. It was like the Forgotten Sands, and the character model was very Jake Gyllenhaal looking.
Yeah. Now that one was just supposed to be not the best either. Correct? Like that was not well received.
It wasn't Sands of Time, man. It just was not. And it wasn't a bad game. It just they hyped it up so much to be like the second coming of Prince of Persia, and it was just very average,
Yeah.
which is a shame. It's because as a franchise, Prince of Persia, you say Prince of Persia, a lot of people, a lot of gamers know and recognize the name, the franchise. So
Now,
there's a certain level of expectation.
didn't they mess one of these games up pretty badly, and they included the real ending to the game in DLC? Or am I misconstruing this for a different series in a different game?
Oh man, that I don't know.
I You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. Go ahead and leave a comment on YouTube. No problem with that. But I'm almost positive one of those Prince of Persia games they put as DLC. Like you beat the game, and it's not like the final ending. To get the ending, you had to like pay for DLC, and the DLC had the real ending in the game, which is filthy. Like that should not happen.
Oh man, I you know what? I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised at all. But I don't remember that. Uh, and I've played, especially like the Sands of Time trilogy. I've played those like multiple times over.
Well, here we can eliminate it real quick. The Sands of Time trilogy, was that all on PS2, Xbox, and GameCube, or did that go into PS3, Xbox One,
Nope,
or
it was just PS2, Xbox, GameCube.
okay? So there shouldn't be any DLC for those. So if any of them
Correct.
had this DLC, it would have had to have been that cell shaded one, or it would have had to have been the Forgotten Sands.
Or the Forgotten Sands, because those were 360. Those were on the 360.
Yeah.
360 PS3.
So you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I might be thinking about a different game too. My memory, I'm getting old. Okay, my memory's not as good as it used to be. But I could have sworn it was a Prince of Persia game that had the ending like that.
Ubisoft, if you're listening, please give me another Prince of Persia. It's time.
Make it
It's
right.
time. I
They
need another one.
they seem to be doing the right thing with the Sands of Time because that game was like supposed to come out in like 2 or 3 months, and then they were like, nope, not happening. It'll come out in 6 months from now, and they just kept pushing it back. There's not even a release date for it anymore. It was supposed to come out like a year or two ago.
Yep, man. I went to GameStop and pre-ordered mine, and it's my money's still sitting there, still waiting. Hey,
You
hopefully, Ubisoft, please.
At least they didn't just put it out and it was poop. I mean, that would be worse than them delaying it.
True, which is true. So I mean, if they're taking the time to make it right, I'm all for it. And
Yeah.
while you're at it, Ubisoft, give me my sequel to Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Splinter Cell. Oh yes, yeah. Beyond Good and Evil too.
Oh, and Splinter Cell. We don't ask for much.
Splinter Cell would be at the top of my list. Beyond Good and Evil. I never spent a lot of time with. I need to go back to that one and really dig in. But Splinter Cell, like, come on, man. What are you guys doing over there? What the hell are you guys doing? Splinter Cell is an easy win. Prince of Persia should be an easy win. You guys don't know how to make a Prince of Persia game? What? You can make these massive open world amazing. I love Assassin's Creed, by the way. If you guys didn't know, like, you could say the story, whatever. I don't care about the story. I care about the individual stories, not the overarching story about it's present day and blah blah. I couldn't care. I don't even know what's happening anymore in those. But when they go back and like the historical parts, Assassin's Creed Odyssey was probably like a top 10 game of mine. Like, love those games. You guys can make these massive open world RPGs, and you can't make a Prince of Persia game. You can't make a Splinter Cell game that's essentially in corridors and you're shooting out lights. You guys can't figure that out. What the hell is happening over there? I'm sorry.
There's talk. There's talk that it's coming. There's talk that Prince of Persia is coming, and there's talk that we're going to get the Splinter Cell remake. So we'll just have to see. I mean, they keep cranking out, like you said, they keep cranking out Assassin's Creed, and not that they're bad, but Assassin's Creed definitely took the spotlight away off of Prince of Persia. And okay, I'm like, enough Assassin's Creed.
But you get my
It's
point,
time.
Wes, right? These are much
Oh, I
simpler.
get it.
These should be.
I
These
get
should, in
it.
theory, be much simpler games to make, and you can't figure it out. What is happening?
I get it, man. Well, look, okay. The way I'm going to look at it, if they're trying to remake Sands of Time, look how long it took them to remake Final Fantasy VII. Forever.
Yeah, it came out
Forever.
real sweet, though.
And
Real
it
sweet.
did. So, you know what, Ubisoft? Take your time. I'm patient. To a point.
Right, but don't take your time, but we don't need another Duke Nukem Forever on our hands or There's another game that just recently surpassed that. Oh, I think it was Beyond Good and Evil 2. I think it was Beyond Good and Evil 2 surpassed that for the longest game in development. So
And then you got Half-Life 2. Don't forget Half-Life 2.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, they need to get their stuff together over there, though.
Yeah, man.
All right, guys. Well, that pretty much wraps up our show. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff. Ring the bell to get notifications. Go and support us over on Patreon if you could. It's as little as $1 a month. For $5 a month, you can get exclusive ad-free access. $1 a month gives you exclusive content each month. And all that money goes back into supporting what we do, as well as everybody else here at Nerd Enthusiast. If you guys want to follow me, I'm at Nerd Enthusiast over on Twitter. I'm sorry. No, I'm not. That's the company. At from NJ to CA with the 2 as the number 2 over on Twitter. Wes, if people want to find you, where can they follow you at?
You could definitely follow me on Instagram at Grendel5XBX.
There you go. And Level Up Entertainment, the Hamilton Mall, Mays Landing, New Jersey.
There you go. Come check me out. Let's talk games.
That's right. Free comic book days coming up, so he expects to see you soon.
Definitely. I'll be there.
All right, guys. Until next time, y'all take care.
Have a good one, guys.